My sister-in-law, Anya, was obsessed with picking up men, type of Chinese romance novels. Every night she'd go to a bar, waiting for fate to strike. Her salary was a mere 3,800 yuan, yet she rented luxury cars costing millions. She firmly believed she would meet a handsome, wealthy CEO, but instead, she was drugged, waiting for her brother-in-law to save her. This led to a one-night stand, getting pregnant, running away, being pursued, and finally marrying into a prestigious family. I warned her to be careful. Don't just pick up any man you find on the street. What if he had bad intentions? Your life could be over. But Anya accused me of hindering her happiness, even scolding me. Someone as rule-abiding and dull as you is so boring. You don't understand modern trends at all. No wonder my brother doesn't want to come home. It turned out both siblings were equally crazy. I silently swallowed my advice, canceled the Porsche I planned to buy for my husband, and began planning my divorce. At 3:00 a.m., Anya pounded on the door, calling for me to open up. The moment I opened it, she pushed her way in, soaking wet, leaving a trail of muddy footprints on the floor. Anya usually loved watching romance novels and short films, and recently she'd become fixated on this picking up men trope. Every night she goes to a bar, waiting for that golden opportunity. I worried about her safety and asked my husband, Ben, to talk to her, but he was indifferent. She's young, just having fun. She just hangs out with her friends, there's nothing to worry about. At breakfast, Anya appeared with dark circles under her eyes like a panda. I placed her breakfast on the table but couldn't help but speak up. Look at your eyes, so dark from exhaustion. That place isn't safe anyway. What if you meet someone bad at night? If you truly want to be in a relationship, Ben and I can introduce you to someone good. I hadn't even finished when Anya irritably cut me off, lifting her head. Dangerous? You don't need to meddle, do you? Are you just afraid I'll find someone better than your brother? She glanced at me, taking her chopsticks. You'll introduce me, probably someone as rigid and boring as you. Anya had always been known for her loose tongue. Ben always said she'd been like that since childhood, blunt and carefree. I had always been tolerant, but in that moment, I truly couldn't stand it anymore. Anya showed no respect for me, inside or out. I was about to sit down and talk seriously about manners when I heard Anya whisper, "No wonder my brother doesn't want to come home. Even I wouldn't want to." My heart tightened. I thought about how Ben had been on frequent business trips for nearly a year, sometimes not seeing each other for a whole month. I always assumed it was because he was busy with his career advancement. Hearing Anya's words, I felt a sense of unease. On the way to work, I called Mr. Lee, my father's close friend. After listening to my reasons, he immediately sent me Ben's recent business trip schedule. Emily, I hadn't originally planned for Ben to go on this Hainan trip, but he actively requested it, saying his wife at home fully supported him. Mr. Lee hesitated, then added, he was accompanied by a female colleague, Olivia. It's not the first time they've traveled together for work. I suddenly remembered the work report videos Ben used to send. He never once mentioned a female colleague. Ben and I had only been married for less than 2 years. I was even planning to buy him a Porsche with this month's project bonus so he wouldn't complain about losing face when doing business. I closed my eyes, calmed myself for a few seconds, then walked into the office. My current project was extremely important. I couldn't let trivial matters affect or distract me. By the time I realized it, I had worked overtime until dawn. As I turned off my computer and grabbed my car keys, I received a call from the building management. It turned out Anya had brought a drunk man home and was stopped by security. Access to this complex was very strict. Before the security guards could even ask a few questions, Anya erupted, rushing forward to argue, continuously claiming they were looking down on her. When I arrived, Anya was still yelling, "My brother is the homeowner. What's wrong with me bringing someone home? On what grounds are you not letting me in? You people just wait until you get sued one day, then you'll know your place." The security captain standing nearby explained, "Madam, these are our community regulations. All visitors need to register. Don't talk to me about regulations. Aren't you just bullying me because I'm not the homeowner? If I were the homeowner, would you dare speak like that?" Anya's voice grew louder and more piercing. Seeing me get out of my car, the captain immediately approached, looking awkward. "Ms. Lee, about this matter." I glanced at the man leaning on Anya's shoulder. He looked somewhat familiar, but I couldn't place him. I politely told the captain, "I apologize for the trouble." Seeing me, Anya immediately perked up. "Sister-in-law, look, what kind of community doesn't let people in? Don't you know a lawyer? Call someone to sue them and teach them a lesson." I looked at Anya, completely speechless. Are you really planning to bring him home? Anya's face darkened. What do you mean? Do you mean you won't let me in either? You're an outsider. What right do you have to stop me? An outsider? I repeated. My heart felt as cold as ashes. All my sincerity before felt like it had been fed to dogs. I crossed my arms and looked down at Anya from my 1.75 m height, easily towering over her 1.6 m frame. I stated clearly, this house is mine. Tonight, if you want to come up, come alone. Otherwise, take him and get out of here. With that, I turned and got back into my car, ignoring Anya's stunned expression. She tried to rush forward and pull open the car door, but my sudden acceleration made her flinch back. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Anya jumping up and down, cursing loudly. I didn't go home right away but drove to Ben's car to check his dashcam footage. Normally, we each drove our own cars and he didn't have a habit of deleting videos. The scene in the car unfolded clearly before my eyes. I even found a woman's thong jammed in the car seat crevice. The car still reeked of an unfamiliar perfume. I kept the evidence, covering my nose as I got out of the car, unable to suppress a fit of dry heaving. Before I could even enter the house, Ben's phone call came in. I looked at the familiar number, took a deep breath, and then answered. His voice was dry and somewhat impatient. Emily, did you kick my sister out? I cleared my throat, trying to stay calm. Your sister brought a strange man home. What does that have to do with me? The other side was silent for a few seconds. He clearly knew Anya's personality, but still grumbled. Regardless, she's my sister. You can't just kick her out like that. Besides, she doesn't have a dime. Where do you expect her to go? Go pick her up. I was about to curse when I heard a faint woman's voice on the other end. Ben, slightly flustered, quickly said, Can't talk anymore, I have an early meeting tomorrow. Go pick her up, then hung up, leaving only a busy signal. I lay in bed all night, unable to sleep. The next morning, I contacted my lawyer friend and began to inquire about asset division during a divorce. I had bought the current house before marriage. When we got married, I had voluntarily added Ben's name to the property deed. The car he was driving was my wedding gift to him. The other car I bought myself. The problem was that my income was significantly higher than his. If we divorced, I didn't want him to benefit further. That afternoon, when I went to the dealership for car maintenance, I happened to run into Anya. She was arguing with an employee. It's just a small scratch. You're making too big a deal out of it. Not only won't you return the deposit, but you're also demanding compensation. The employee patiently explained, Madam, even if it's a small scratch, the entire area needs to be repainted, and the cost is not insignificant. Anya's eyes widened. She rummaged through her bag for a while before pulling out 50 yuan and throwing it on the ground. There, happy now, can I go? The employee was speechless at her attitude and had to turn to the manager for help. Just a few seconds later, Anya's piercing scream echoed throughout the entire shop. Are you people crazy for money? A tiny scratch and you're demanding 20,000 yuan? Why don't you just go rob someone? As she spoke, she pulled out her phone to record. I'll post this online and see if anyone dares to rent cars from you again. Thinking back to the Rolls-Royce parked outside the complex last night, I gradually realized the problem and couldn't help but sigh. Anya truly committed to her, picking up men, game. It must have been hard for her. With a salary of 3,800 yuan, she was still willing to pay millions to rent that car. I was still lost in thought when Anya spotted me. Her eyes lit up like a mouse seeing a granary, and she rushed towards me, pointing. This is my sister-in-law. If you want money, ask her. The manager looked up, recognized me as the customer who had ordered a Porsche last week, and his expression immediately softened. He approached, smiled, greeted me, and then whispered in my ear, How about this? Out of respect for you, we'll only charge for basic repairs. We still need something for our report after all. He raised one finger, signaling 1,000. I waved my hand. No need, just charge according to regulations. Anya stood beside me just like every time before, shamelessly waiting for me to pull out my wallet. Seeing that I wasn't moving, she impatiently stepped forward and pushed my shoulder. Sister-in-law, why are you standing there stunned? I stepped back, avoiding her hand, and spread my arms. I don't have any money. I'm your sister-in-law, not your mother. Anya's voice immediately shot up. You earn so much, how can you not have money? I chuckled coldly. Now you remember I earn a lot? Usually your mouth is always saying your brother supports me. Didn't you bring a CEO home last night? Ask him to pay. At the mention of the man from last night, Anya's face immediately turned shy, carrying a hint of nostalgic recollection. No, what if he thinks I'm materialistic? I burst out laughing. What male model would criticize someone for being materialistic? The man Anya picked up last night was actually Ms. Sue's lover, Ben's direct boss. I had met him once before when discussing cooperation by Ms. Sue's side. Ms. Sue was very generous. All the luxury items Anya envied were bought with Ms. Sue's money. I paid for the car maintenance and gave an extra 500 yuan tip. I looked at the manager and said, "A sister-in-law has no obligation to pay for her sister-in-law's damages, right?" The manager was sharp. He immediately nodded in agreement and called an employee to drive me home. In the car, I immediately blocked Anya's phone number and WeChat to avoid being bothered by her. After a moment of thought, I blocked Ben too. I expected Anya to complain to Ben as usual, but I didn't expect her to drag my in-laws into the fight. The next day, when I got home from work, I saw a crowd gathered at the complex entrance from afar. My father-in-law stood in the middle of the crowd, while my mother-in-law sat on a sack on the ground, crying and wailing. "Everyone, please judge for me. My son has only been on a business trip for a few days, and my daughter-in-law has already kicked my daughter out of the house. What kind of sister-in-law does that? If she thinks we're old, fine, we can go back to the countryside, but I didn't expect her to be so cruel even to her sister-in-law. My son works so hard outside to earn money, and she's at home tormenting my whole family like this. Everyone, tell me, is such a daughter-in-law worthy?" Her mournful wails immediately gained sympathy from the elderly residents gathered in the complex. They took turns criticizing me, and some even expressed their own dissatisfaction with their daughters-in-law. "Honestly, your son is lucky to have married a sensible daughter-in-law like you. If it were that kind of person in my house, I'd give her a lesson she'd never forget. That house was bought by your son, wasn't it? She's an outsider. On what grounds?" Hearing this, my mother-in-law's eyes flickered with a hint of guilt, but she still held her head high, enjoying the glory of being supported by others. The security guards approached to disperse the crowd, but my mother-in-law lunged at them, pulling their hair and tearing at their clothes. "We are the homeowners' parents. You're just hired gatekeepers. How dare you kick us out?" Seeing people around pulling out their phones to record, I silently rolled up my car window and drove away. Not long after, someone posted the clip in the resident group asking who the homeowners of this elderly couple were. I thought for a moment, then forwarded the clip to Anya. "The video is online. I'm sure you don't want your CEO to know your parents are like this, do you?" She immediately messaged back. "My parents' faces aren't visible. Now people are cursing you, not me. Don't try to scare me." I knew her mentality well. I replied, "Your CEO isn't stupid, like in the novels you read. After a one-night stand, doesn't the CEO always investigate the female lead's identity? Do you think he can't find out who caused the trouble?" Anya went silent. That comment clearly hit home. A moment later, she messaged back, "Sister-in-law, what do you think I should do now?" From that day on, we didn't meet again, but the next morning I discovered my necklace was missing. Anya said, "Just as in the novel, he took my token of love." I rolled my eyes. Finally, I understood why that guy didn't call the police. Not only did he get a free night, but he also got some money. Who would believe it? Even more absurdly, Anya also claimed that to create a connection like in the novel, we didn't actually do anything that night. Now, Anya was incredibly excited, hoping to be pregnant. "Sister-in-law, you don't understand. The latest trend is to pick up a man, get pregnant, and run away. I have a feeling the baby is coming soon. Sister-in-law, maybe you should also try to have a baby. In my opinion, women should stay at home to care for their husbands and raise children. If you're strong and ambitious all the time, what man would like that?" Anya's words immediately dispelled any initial pity I had for her. I completely gave up trying to reason with her, deciding to respect her choices. Finally, Anya persuaded my in-laws to return to the countryside. She didn't even have a place to live, let alone care for two elderly people. After seeing them off on a hard-seat train ticket, Anya immediately returned to my house that night. Thinking that Ben and I hadn't officially divorced yet, and she wouldn't last long anyway, I didn't pay much attention. Until one early morning, Anya suddenly screamed in the bathroom. "Ah, sister-in-law, I'm pregnant, I'm really pregnant." Anya was overjoyed, running out with a 2-line pregnancy test to show me. Indeed, she was pregnant. A few days later, Anya started to get anxious. "Sister-in-law, why hasn't he come to find me yet? Is he going to break his promise?" Seeing her confused expression, I cautiously asked, "Could it be that he doesn't know you're pregnant?" "Impossible." Anya immediately cut me off. "He's not looking for me because of the baby. He said I'm his true love." I silently rolled my eyes. To have a child with this IQ, it truly was karma. Should I go find him? Anya was still lost in her fantasies. No, in novels, the male lead always finds the female lead himself. If I'm proactive, he won't cherish me. I nodded in agreement. After 3 days of hesitation, Anya decided to proactively reveal her whereabouts so the other party could follow the clues to find her. She read in a novel that the female lead was misunderstood when she went to a pharmacy to buy contraceptives, was mistakenly arrested as a robber, and even appeared on television news. The male lead accidentally saw it and recognized her. So Anya decided to risk everything for the role. She chose the largest pharmacy in the area, with the most cameras, wore a hat, a mask, wrapped herself tightly from head to toe. She entered the shop grandly to look good on camera. She even spent 2 hours doing her makeup before leaving. Unfortunately, in her haste to leave, she bumped into a pregnant woman. The woman almost fell, and before Anya could apologize, a tattooed man next to her grabbed Anya's collar and slapped her twice, knocking off her hat. Her cheeks were red and swollen, and lipstick was smeared all over her face when her mask was torn off. Watching Anya's pathetic appearance on the news, I felt a little sorry for her, but she showed no shame. Now he's definitely seen me, that rotten man, just you wait. My husband will definitely teach him a lesson. I looked at the comments section of the video. This girl must be pregnant before marriage. She looks like a thief. Who would dare marry her? My love, you wouldn't let me go buy medicine alone, would you? At boyfriend. Anya also saw these comments. At first, she angrily stood up to retort, but as soon as she opened her mouth, her tone changed. What do they know? We're fated. Whether we get married or not isn't important. Marriage doesn't necessarily mean true love. They couldn't marry me, so they talk. All those men are like toads wanting to eat swan meat, and those old women only say useless things. They'll definitely be abandoned by men. Before Anya's CEO could find her, Ben returned home first. As soon as he entered, he vented his anger on me. Can't you see how messy the house is? Don't you know how to clean up? I looked at the sink full of moldy dishes in the kitchen and a row of red and blue underwear haphazardly drying on the balcony and simply raised my hands. I didn't make this mess. I took too much care of them before. Now they treat me like a maid. Anya had been living at home for several days, and I hadn't eaten a single meal there, nor had I stepped foot in the kitchen. Ben seemed to find an excuse, put down his suitcase, grabbed his car keys, and turned to leave. I have a party tonight, no need to wait for me for dinner. I didn't miss the hurried look in his eyes. In truth, at this point, the affection between Ben and me had run dry. We had long ceased to be a couple passionately in love, but merely comrades. He betrayed me. I felt sad, but more than that, I felt regret. Regret for losing a teammate. Fortunately, I was capable enough to fight alone, to put an end to this marriage myself. I drove, following Ben. Half an hour later, he parked his car at a 5-star hotel with no elevator, only a rough staircase. As I walked up, I couldn't help but think, this cheapskate, after all these years together, he brings women to such a rundown place. The door just opened, and a scantily clad woman stepped out. Before the door could even close, the two couldn't restrain themselves and rushed into each other, kissing passionately. I glanced at the flyer stuck on the wall and timed my call to the repairman. When the repairman knocked, Ben was only wrapped in a towel. He poked his head through the crack in the door, and I immediately lunged, slapping him twice across the face, pointing at him furiously. Ben, you scoundrel, how could you treat me like this? With that, I tried to push him aside to go inside and find that vixen, but Ben blocked me, pushing me back out. Emily, are you crazy? I stumbled, hitting my head on the wooden table nearby. Glancing at the corner of the table, I deliberately reduced the force so it wouldn't be too severe. Just then, I saw my lawyer enter, and I fainted with relief. When I woke up in the hospital, the first person I saw wasn't Ben. My lawyer said he had been called in by the police for questioning because the repairman had reported it to them. I couldn't help but sigh. What a kind repairman. Before calling the repairman, I had poured out my troubles to him, like any other pitiful, wronged wife begging for help. He was very angry when he heard it and said that if that guy dared to lay a hand on me, he would definitely defend me. I proactively requested to stay in the hospital for a few days. During that time, Olivia came once. She wore a tight-fitting spaghetti-strap dress, her pale chest exposed without any cover. She even tried to kneel before me, pretending to be completely at my mercy. Seeing that I didn't stop her, she knelt halfway and then stood up again. Sister Emily, Ben and I are truly in love. Exactly like the lines of the other woman in the novels Anya used to tell me about. I listened, my heart completely unmoved. Olivia looked up at me. Seeing no reaction, she continued, Ben said he was too bored with you, like a broken record. Only with me does he feel alive. My gaze fell on the designer bag she was carrying. I asked, did he give that to you? Olivia flinched, unconsciously hiding the bag behind her back, a wary look in her eyes. Yes. I gave a faint smile. Initially, I had hesitated whether to demand back the assets Ben gave her during our marriage. Now I didn't need to hesitate anymore. Who would fight over a fake designer bag? Before meeting Olivia, I thought she must be a bad person, a homewrecker. But after meeting her, I was a little surprised. She was young, barely in her 20s, not long out of school, a new hire. It was predictable that she would be deceived by an old fox like Ben. Moreover, he was the one who asked her to confront me alone, proving he wasn't truly sincere with her either. Everything stemmed from him, yet he allowed 2 women to be hurt because of him, while he hid away. What a coward. After Olivia left, I immediately sent a divorce petition to Ben. In it, I requested that after the divorce, each person keep their postmarital assets. My premarital assets and dowry had to be returned to me. Ben kept delaying signing. I heard that after this business trip, the company assigned him a big project, and he was preparing to run for a promotion, so he didn't want a divorce at this time. After all, a proper, respectable wife like me was still a plus for his career. I immediately sent him the video of his affair, threatening that if he didn't sign right away, I would send everything to the company and completely ruin his future. Under my step-by-step pressure, Ben finally signed the divorce papers. The first thing I did after divorcing was to kick Anya out of the house. Anya seemed unable to believe it. You dare to divorce my brother and kick me out too? Are you going to leave me out in the rain? Do you think anyone will want you after you leave my brother? I raised my hand to shush her. Lower your voice, aren't you afraid of affecting the baby? And by the way, if it weren't for your subtle hint, I wouldn't have discovered your brother was cheating. Anya lowered her eyes upon hearing this, standing still as a statue, looking a bit guilty. However, what enraged Ben the most was when she accidentally let slip the news. His face turned pale, and he glared at Anya. Whose baby are you carrying? Anya was startled and panicked, her eyes darting around, even looking at me for help. I stood aside, arms crossed, and said coolly, young people just like to have fun. You don't need to take it too seriously, do you? Ben, hearing this familiar phrase from my mouth, immediately turned to glare at me. Emily, we weren't divorced then, were we? You're her sister-in-law, yet you just stood by and watched him get into trouble. I swung my hand, swatting his hand away, and scoffed. Who are you talking about? You're good at shifting blame. If you truly cared, why are you only just finding out now? You only come looking for me when something happens. Am I your mother? Do I owe your family anything? You're all nothing but trouble. Get out of my sight. Ben was stunned by my scolding. For years, I had always been gentle, never saying harsh words, to the point where he had forgotten that people could get angry. After kicking the Ben family siblings out, I called a cleaning service to thoroughly clean the entire house, inside and out. Everything related to the Ben family was gathered and thrown into the trash. I told myself I had been completely devoted and loyal to them, but I didn't expect someone to come looking for trouble again. The next day, Anya messaged me. Emily, my brother wants me to have an abortion. What should I do? After our previous conversations, she clearly saw me as her only supporter. I told her, why don't you go find the baby's father? He certainly can't abandon you. The other side was silent for a while, as if making a decision. Okay, if he never finds me, I'll go find him myself. A few minutes later, she sent another message. Can you lend me some money? I transferred 5,000 yuan to her. Knowing Anya's personality, she would definitely try her old tricks tonight. And coincidentally, Ms. Su was taking her entire department to a bar tonight, so I would be on the front lines for all the drama. I put on my makeup early, wearing a seductive slip dress, and Joanna and I booked a table at the bar. I walked in on high heels, lightly stepping towards our reserved spot. My friend hadn't arrived yet, and I was alone, so quite a few men tried to chat me up, all of whom I politely declined. Until a handsome young man appeared, with large, innocent puppy eyes, looking at me. Sister, may I get to know you? As he spoke, he nervously swallowed. The dim lights of the bar highlighted the captivating lines of his neck, his Adam's apple subtly moving up and down. I suddenly understood why Miss Su was so infatuated with him. By the time Joanna arrived, the 1.8-meter tall model and I had already had a few drinks. Joanna teased me. How come I feel like you've been unsealed after your divorce? I laughed, pouring her a drink. You should call one over too, my treat. Before, I always considered these things a betrayal of marriage, but I never expected Ben to see my self-restraint as rigid and boring. Perhaps the one who had tied me down wasn't Ben, but myself. I shook my head, discarding all my worries, and clinked glasses with Joanna. I don't know how much time passed, but Ben's group also arrived. Miss Sue's seat was quite close to mine. I glanced around, not seeing Olivia, and soon enough I understood why. When the drinks were served, Ben inadvertently placed his hand on the waitress's waist, even sneaking in a squeeze. I felt both fortunate and disgusted. Not long after Miss Sue sat down, the CEO, male lead, also appeared. He naturally sat next to Miss Sue, pouring wine and bringing it to her lips. Miss Sue smiled, her fingers lightly touching his waist. He then unbuttoned another button on his shirt, revealing his pale chest and sculpted abs. Miss Sue seemed very pleased, casually stroking his chest before taking her own glass and pressing it to his lips. I checked my watch. It was nearly midnight. Just then, Anya walked in. Joanna and I both widened our eyes immediately. She looked around, as if anxiously searching for someone, until her gaze locked onto Ben and the young man sitting on Miss Sue's lap. Anya strode forward, her eyes as cold as daggers. Her steps were decisive. I craned my ears, afraid of missing any details. I saw Anya grab the male model's hand, trying to pull him away. He looked at Miss Sue in confusion, then immediately shook off Anya's hand, completely disavowing any connection. Ben's face turned from red to green, and he scolded Anya, but Anya refused to stop. Seeing that the other party was ignoring her, she grabbed a fruit knife from the table, held it to her stomach, and said desperately, "Husband, I'm carrying our child. You didn't come to find me, so I brought our child to you." Miss Sue's expression changed repeatedly, her eyes as sharp as daggers as she looked at the person next to her. The male model looked awkward, seemingly very embarrassed by the scene. He coldly shouted, "Who are you? Do I know you?" Anya froze upon hearing this, unable to believe her ears. "Why are you pretending not to know me? Don't you want me anymore? Don't you want our child anymore?" At this moment, Ben finally realized that the male model was the culprit who had gotten his sister pregnant, but he only frowned and coldly said, "Take her away." When it came to his sister versus his future, he didn't hesitate to push his sister away. Anya seemed not to hear anything apart from that man, still staring blankly at him. "Is it because of this woman that you didn't come to find me?" She moved the knife towards Miss Sue. "No, the male and female leads in the story should be you and me." As she spoke, she suddenly stopped, her eyes becoming manic, then she lunged, attempting to stab Miss Sue's neck. Miss Sue was not seriously injured. The male model had pushed Anya away just in time. Very quickly, Miss Sue sued Anya for intentional assault. Hearing that their daughter was about to go to jail, Anya's parents once again took a train to the city. And as usual, they blocked the entrance to my complex. My ex-mother-in-law held up a crumpled cardboard sign on which a few lines were scrawled. "Daughter-in-law kicked out sister-in-law, causing her to run away and be harmed by bad people. Please give us justice, everyone." The curious crowd gathered again. Not long after, someone recognized them. "Hey, aren't those the old couple from last time? They also said their daughter was kicked out of the house. Oh my, how pitiful. And now their daughter is in even more trouble. This daughter-in-law is truly horrible. Why didn't they call the police about this? This kind of vicious daughter-in-law should be arrested." I pushed my way into the crowd. My ex-mother-in-law immediately glared, rushing forward to push me. "How dare you show your face here? You ruined my daughter's life. How dare you argue?" I quickly dodged to the side and said coldly, "You're fabricating stories to force me to show up, aren't you?" The crowd murmured in disgust. I looked around and spoke loudly. "I've already reported it to the police. Everyone, after hearing her, you should also hear a few words from me. Should people who slander and defame others be arrested?" "What nonsense are you talking about? You harmed my daughter and you still won't admit it." My ex-mother-in-law glared and lunged again, trying to scratch me. Security guards had to step forward and use their batons to keep their distance, pushing her back. I recounted the entire truth. With each sentence I spoke, my ex-mother-in-law's face grew paler. When she heard that Anya had been arrested, she finally couldn't bear it and collapsed onto the ground, weeping bitterly. My father-in-law, in contrast, was unusually calm. His cloudy eyes stared intently at me before he spoke. "I heard you know a lawyer. Can you help Anya?" Hearing this, my mother-in-law looked as if she had found a savior, her eyes brightening. "That's right, it's you. Quickly call your lawyer to help Anya." Before I could answer, a girl in the crowd spoke up. Wow, her face changed so quickly. She was just cursing at her, and now she's asking for a favor. Doesn't she have any shame? My ex-mother-in-law was about to retort, but I immediately cut her off. Ben and I are divorced. What does the Ben family's business have to do with me? She opened her mouth, intending to continue scolding, but my father-in-law pulled her hand back. I thought to myself, for the past 2 years, I had treated them no differently than my own parents. Although we didn't live in the same house, I ensured they received gifts for holidays and special occasions, and I inquired about their well-being. Their monthly living expenses were never short a single penny. Even things Ben forgot, I took care of for him. I never expected to be repaid with such an ungrateful family. Before the crowd dispersed, the police arrived, and I followed them to the police station. In front of the police, my ex-mother-in-law immediately changed her attitude, saying she was old and talked a lot but had no malicious intent. Fortunately, someone had video recorded both incidents, and their behavior of gathering and causing disturbance was clearly evident. After Ms. Sue was discharged from the hospital, the first thing she did was find an excuse to fire Ben. From then on, he had no home, no car, no job, and was rejected everywhere. One day, when my computer was infected with a virus, I accidentally saw him appear on a dark website. The female lead in the video was Olivia. I found Olivia's social media account and sent her the video. I thought at most she would break up with Ben. I didn't expect her to sue him directly. As a result, Ben was sentenced to prison for distributing obscene content. I could only sigh. The Ben siblings had reunited in a different way. I heard Anya stubbornly refuse to have an abortion. She believed that as long as she had the child, that man would return to her. My ex-mother-in-law cried her eyes out upon hearing this, constantly wailing about bad karma. In the end, it was my father-in-law who had to raise the grandchild. I thought back to the old couple constantly urging me to have children. Now, their wish had come true. I sold the old house, added the money from canceling the Porsche order, and bought a spacious apartment, inviting my own parents to live with me. On holidays, I took them traveling everywhere, visiting many cities, almost half the country. The Ben family slowly disappeared from my life. Until 2 years later, Anya made headlines again for murder. When she was arrested, she even managed to add a line to her CEO novel. "Husband, how could you not recognize me?"